What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of my rock metal update. That's right, part 2 of the rock and metal update for September 2016 on No Life Till Metal. Part 1 should already be up, and I will put a link up top here somewhere that you can click on if you haven't seen part 1. But this is part 2. Gonna focus a little more on the hard rock side of things, a little bit of metal mixed in here. I would consider this first band to be metal, some probably wouldn't. But this is Australian band Rose Tattoo. This is their very first album. Picked this up on Discogs just because I was in a Rose Tattoo kind of mood. And I didn't have this record, so I'm like, gotta find it. Found a copy fairly cheap. Matter of fact, this seller had 2 albums from Rose Tattoo, so I ended up grabbing them both. This is a 1978 release, re-released in 1980 on Warner Brother Records, I believe it was, WAA Music. Yep, WAA Music in Germany. A Warner Communication Company, yeah, Warner Brothers in Germany. And that's what this is. This is the 1980 pressing. This is not the original Albert Records pressing from '78. Regardless, glad to have this in my collection. I just didn't have it, and glad I do. Kind of AC/DC in their, in their sound. Just straightforward hard rock, a bit of a punky edge to their Rose Tattoo. If you haven't heard them, you're probably not a big fan of 70s, 80s heavy metal because they were pretty much a staple of that sound. Good stuff. And this next one is an iconic album from them, and I got this from the same seller. Had this one on cassette tape, and decided I just wanted to get it on vinyl. This is Assault and Battery, Rose Tattoo, again on Warner Brothers, WEA Records. This is in Germany, 1981. This is a follow-up album. Again, a little more refined than the first album. The first album was a little more raw. Yeah, still heavy, still rock and roll, still not overly produced. It's just solid stuff. And their vocalist, he's got kind of a, kind of a shrilly, there's their vocalist right there, whose name is slipping my mind at the moment. Angry Anderson. He's got kind of a unique sound. I don't know. I like him. He looks like almost like a, I don't know. He's just a very unique animal. And you can kind of see on that last album, the back cover photo. I mean, you see a ton of vocalists look like this now. Shaved head, kind of almost a hardcore look. But you didn't see that whole lot of that in 1978, so it was pretty unique back then. Rose Tattoo. This next album is the sophomore release for Lynx, Sneak Attack. I really liked their first album from 1977 called Missing Links. Played it a lot. So it was only natural that I was going to look for some more from them. Picked this one up on Discogs as well. And can't say that I like it quite as much as the first album. That first album had a bit of a grind to it. It was almost like a sleazy hard rock sound that was like a precursor to what became bands like Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat, just that kind of sleaze bees, that sleaze metal sound that you heard in the 80s. They kind of had that vibe to them, and they had an edge. And here they kind of lost it, if you ask me. This album's from 1978. Apparently the band toured quite a bit for the first album, and the touring just took its toll on the band, and they basically fell apart. However, they had a 3-album contract with, what was the name of this record label? AVI Records. And so the record label convinced 2 guys, Rob Schwartz, who was the second guitar player for the band, and the keyboard player whose name, did I write it on here somewhere? Tony Caputo? Yeah, Tony Caputo, who was brought in during the recording of the first album like a studio musician. He convinced those 2 to continue on to the name of the band. So it's a whole new band, different vocalist. New vocalist name is Norm Pauline. And yeah, it's just a different vibe. Very cool cover. Kind of has a heavy looking, cover. And it's not bad, so don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like it. I guess I was just expecting something more of an edge. This is more refined, a little more poppy, a little more pump in its sound as opposed to the first album. But still a good album. Another Canadian band that I just discovered in the last couple of years. I'm glad to have it. They have 3 albums total. The 3rd album, I'm told from what I've read, is even poppier than the first 2, and also has a whole new lineup with only the guitar player, being only the guitar player sticking around from even this lineup. So yeah, this band kind of, I guess, lost their way, and regardless, Lynx, Sneak Attack, AVI Records, Canadian hard rock bands. These next 3 records I all picked up from Hastings, who are going out of business nationwide. And so they were having a sale, and I grabbed these. They had used vinyl when I went in at 40% off. So I snagged this. They said was used. This is First Rays of New Rising Sun by Jimi Hendrix. The price, it's no wonder they're going out of business. The price tag on this thing was like, I don't know, $35 or $32, something in there. I'm like, who the heck's paying $32 for this, you know? And you're going to get the CD for $12, or new. But because it was 40% off, I went ahead and grabbed it, and it was worth grabbing. I love Jimi Hendrix. One of my favorite guitar players, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, one of my favorite power trios. Just standard black vinyl. Does have custom center rings. Two album sets. Also came with this little, I don't know, about 10 by 10 booklet. It's like an 8-page booklet, I think, with a little write-up and some bunch of photos of Jimmy on stage. Just very cool release. Glad to have it. Like I said, I wouldn't have paid that much for it, but at 40% off, I couldn't resist. This one too, I was glad to get this one, especially because it said it was used, but it wasn't used. So this is Whitesnake, the Purple album. Now this is David Coverdale and company doing the old Deep Purple stuff that he used to do with, you know, Deep Purple when he was in Deep Purple. You've got Burn, You Fool No One, Love Child, Sail Away, The Gypsy, Lady Double Dealer, You Keep on Moving, Mistreated, Holy Man, Might Just Take Your Life, Soldier of Fortune, Lay Down, Stay Down, Stormbringer, Lady Luck, and Coming Home. 2 album sets, kind of the modern Whitesnake's take on those old classic songs. And this became because, well, I guess this thing was already in the works. They were talking about doing like a Mach 3, Mach 4 era Deep Purple reunion with Ritchie Blackmore. For whatever reason, it wasn't happening. And then it really didn't happen after we lost, yeah, drummer John Lord, right? That's it. And if I'm not mistaken, somewhere on this album, this is dedicated to him. And there's also a huge write-up in here from David Coverdale on the reason for doing this record. Kind of found it a little odd that they didn't include Glenn Hughes in this, being that Glenn and David are still friends, and you know, she's still around, and Glenn was just as important a part of that Mach 3 era as David Coverdale was, but whatever. I guess he decided to just keep it within what guys were in the band at the time. So it's got Tommy Aldridge on drums. You got Rhett Beach from. Rhett Beach was in what band? He was in a bunch of different hair bands. Poison, I think, at one point. Dokken at one point. Michael Devin on bass, and Joel Hoekstra on guitar. It is just black vinyl. I didn't get any special colored vinyl. I think this was released on purple vinyl as well. So there you go, Whitesnake, the Purple album. Glad to have it. Fantastic set. He does a great job. Stays pretty true to the original songs, but he puts some modern touches in it. He changes things up a little bit. It's a good listen. This album is great. This album is one of the best new releases of 2016, without a doubt. Cheap Trick. I bought this on CD, not expecting much, and I don't know why, because I like Cheap Trick. But some of their more recent releases, I liked them, but they weren't like blowing me away. Cheap Trick are a hooky, poppy band, you know. Power pop, as some people call them. Whatever, they're a rock and roll band, and they always had that kind of poppy vibe. And this is one of the things I liked about them, and it wasn't quite there in past releases. This one here, this is a re-energized band. Recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Man, this is just fantastic. There's not a bad song on here. Blood Red Lips is just, I mean, if that song had been put out, you know, years ago, maybe in the 80s or the late 70s, it would have been a huge hit for him. Of course, it's not now because, you know, people kind of just ignore great bands from the past and they want their modern garbage. So, Heart on the Line, No Direction Home, When I Wake Up Tomorrow. Just like I said, this is not a bad, All Strung Out. There's just not a bad song on here. Has kind of a punky vibe at times too. Really good record from Cheap Trick. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up on vinyl, especially because I grabbed it for whatever the percentage off was. This one was not used. This one was new from Hastings, so I think it was 15 or 20% off at the time. But it wasn't highly priced either. It was only like $18.99 to begin with. So what we got here? We got three or four records left to go. This is a band that Brother Greeno turned me on to. This is Hydra, who are a heavy southern rock band, kind of in the vein of you know, Blackfoot or Molly Hatchet. Not that it sounds like either one of those bands exactly, but you know, if they played shows together, they'd be a perfect fit. I think this was the band's first album. This copy is in really pristine condition, and I got it for very, very inexpensively. So I'm gonna be adding more Hydra to my collection because I really enjoyed this record. Just jamming stuff. If you like good, straightforward guitar rock, Hydra is right up your alley, man. Capricorn Records. Can't remember the year of this one. 70. Can't remember the year. I think it might have been. I'll put it down below, but I'm thinking it was like 74, right around that area. Hydra. Sweet. This is 5 or VI or whatever you want to call it. It was called that in the U.S. And a couple other countries. Had a different name whose name is escaping my mind at the moment. I should have wrote it down. Should have wrote it down before I did this video. And it has a different cover in other countries as well. And a different song order. Same songs, just in a different order. Not sure what the deal is with that. But this album is without Brian Connolly on vocals. Bassist Steve Priest, I believe, took over vocals in this one. But it still sounds like Sweet. It still rocks. It still has that poppy, you know, glammy sound that Sweet were. So it's very cool. I've always liked this logo as well. The other cover, the European version of this, is actually a better cover if you ask me. But this is still cool. Again, this is another one I picked up from from some of the traders from the VC on Facebook. This one coming from Rob Caldwell. And he gave this one to me really, really cheap. And it's in just pristine condition. This one I was really, really glad to get. I've been looking for this one for years. I played this in other videos, and it's funny because when I play it in the background, someone always asks, who's that in the background? It's awesome. And I've turned several people on to them just by playing it, without even mentioning them, because they're just that good. This is prog rock by Jimmy Hotz, Beyond the Crystal Sea. And I was playing it in a recent video in the last month or so, and my good friend Metal Theologian Aaron, he ended up picking up a vinyl copy of it and let me know he picked it up, and he got it for fairly cheap. And I was like, oh man, I've been looking for that stupid record forever, and it's always ridiculously priced, you know, $50 or more, and I just don't have that kind of money to spend on a record. So I said, you know, I'm gonna see if I can find a copy. So sure enough, I found a guy on eBay selling it, and he had a and I noticed it had been on eBay for a long time, and nobody had bid on it, and it had a make an offer, and I made an offer at well, I made an offer, and my offer was accepted. So I got this for a fantastic price, and as you can see, it's in just great condition for being such an old album. It's actually from like 1980, but it sounds like it's 1974 or 1975. Gatefold. It's unfortunate Jimmy Hotz didn't put out more stuff like this, because this is just really good stuff. And if I can get the record out, that'd be awesome. Vision Records. Star of David is their logo. Look into this band if you haven't already. I will say that the lyrics are very much Christian, but they're not like, I don't know what the word is, cheesy. You know, they're cheesy in a good way. It's a very highly enjoyable album. If you're into prog rock, check out Jimmy Hotz. It's very good stuff. It's not heavy and not hard, but there is some fantastic guitar playing on here as well. Jimmy Hotz. Plus, you gotta love that cover. I mean, come on, look at that cover. I mean, when you got painted on chest hair, what am I gonna say? You know, rainbows and angels and golden ships and I mean, come on, that's you just gotta get it for the cover art alone, right? This is the last one. And I actually haven't spun this one yet. This just came recently, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm a little confused by this band. I think they have 2 albums out, but I think both albums are just called Warriors. And I think this is their first album. I don't know much about this one, so you know what? I'll leave it to you guys. You guys know who the Warriors are. Let me know below. This is a gatefold. I can't remember what year this came out now. I know they have another album out, and their picture on the back cover, they got makeup on, and they're kind of all decked out. But I think it has these similar looking guys on the front cover even. I know this is an 80s release. I can't remember the year at all on this thing. Now here's the vinyl itself. And I'm not seeing a year on here either. So hey, I don't know. It's something I haven't actually spun yet. Something I don't know much about. Didn't do any investigating into it, other than already knowing that they have more than 1 album out. I think they only have 2. So maybe you guys know who Warriors are and can leave me some messages below. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know what you know about them. So that's gonna be it for this edition of Rock Metal No Dude. So like always, I appreciate you guys watching and commenting and all my subscribers. That's it. God bless. Stay strong.